I don't think you heard it.
An AI thing will come up instead. I hold the off button.
Maybe you have a fat finger like I've got.
Well, I do, but even that's,
You don't know
I've
which-
tried to do that, because sometimes they say, if you shut your phone off and then reboot it, a lot of those programs will, they restart, and any changes will get added.
Oh,
Initial.
Mine will shut off.
Just a thought.
No, the AI thing comes up instead.
Okay, yeah. I know, 'cause it's him, he's running for re-election. Well, we got 2 luxurious minutes still to go. So what's going over at the Cope Law Firm? How many are there, attorneys?
4, Joe Lewicki and Alicia Cope Robinson, and then Alicia's daughter, Mia Kalish, and myself.
And a few legal assistants.
And
I
somebody
know.
might be joining us.
Who might? Oh, well.
They're
Interesting.
making a little cubicle for him. Went from an empty building that's pretty full there now.
Oh, yeah, that's what, at least 2, was it 3 stories or 2?
2 stories.
2
And then
stories.
they blew out the back when there were like 6 lawyers there.
Was he doing one of those Iron Range retirements where you retire and then you still go to work every day, or?
I missed the memo, I guess. My secretary went to 2 days 1 week and 3 the next.
In the big law firms, it's just notorious. You have these senior partners, what, in their 80s or 90s, that still have offices, right? And come in there somewhat regularly, yeah.
My brother's firm, they had one of the name lawyers, and he was kind of lost his wife, so he was there. They were downsizing his office to a smaller one for the young and up and coming. And I went to my brother, he goes, I voted against it. So I had to help him move, to a smaller office. I go, so much for loyalty, huh, Freddie? And he goes, it is what it is. I was just happy they let me come here. He was like 80 years old. Got stuff to do. Rock yours. Oh, a little bit. I could get a tune going.
Yeah, we could. Like wine glasses.
Dueling chairs.
All right. My Google device here says that it's 5:30, so I'll call our agenda setting meeting to order. And I gather we don't have to have a roll call. So if we could proceed, either Josh or, well, let's see, wait a minute. We have a librarian's report from our deputy librarian, Councilor Hanson.
Our librarian is out of town, but sent me the report. She said she's happy to announce their genre shifting is complete. All fiction is now housed together with other color coordinated stickers to help find the genre. There's guides placed throughout the library to assist with the new wave, and they'll now focus on inventory and then onto a new project. And they'll be spending May preparing for the summer reading program. This year's theme is Plant a Seed, Read. There's lots of fun activities and prizes planned for this summer. This program will start June 1st and go through July 18th. Open to all ages, birth through teens. The calendar of events will be handed out upon sign-up. 321 Art Studio will be joining the library for another adult painting session. They will be here starting June 30th. They'll have a session every Tuesday through July 28th from 10 to 2, and watch for more details coming soon. This is really interesting. As summer's getting started here, please remember the library has state park passes available for checkout. Each pass is good for 7 days and will allow you to visit any state park. Those are available on a first-come, first-served basis, and only one pass is available at a time. That's good for your summer activities. Also, a heads up, the library will be closed this year for the July 3rd festivities. However, they will be providing limited crafts and activities on July 2nd to get everyone in the spirit of the holiday.
Well, as usual, a lot of things happening. Thank you for that report. City administrator, should our engineer or you take?
Yeah,
over?
I think I would probably not wanna take up.
You don't wanna
your
take
time.
this?
I just wanna take up your time. I wanna be respectful of your time.
Well, our agenda is so substantially weighted in your favor. It seems
Well-
reasonable we should hear from you.
Have a lot to talk about. I don't have an overall update this month, just bids came in Thursday and this was the priority. My goal is to have that for the next meeting, which I understand is next week, correct? So that'll be the more comprehensive update of everything else we're doing. We did open bids on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. We had 3 bidders. I kind of anticipated that after leading up to it. I was getting questions from only 3 contractors. And so about 10 days before bid opening, I was pretty sure that was the 3 that were bidding. But it was Uland Brothers out of Virginia, KGM out of Angora, and then Wagner, which they're out of I Falls. I've worked with Wagner on some I Falls projects that would have been fine. But ultimately, Uland was the apparent low bidder. They were approximately $2 million under the engineer's estimate. KGM was right in the ballpark, and then Wagner was I don't know, 2 or 3 million above. Not surprised by any of that. Wagner called me like the week before. They were just getting into the bid. I was like, buddy, you're way behind on this one. You should have picked this up a while ago. But like they're good guys and kind of walked them through what I thought were the critical items. But overall, we got some good bids, so I'm really happy with how things shook out. We had good spread. I know it's 2 million under, but it's still only 8 or 9% under the engineer's estimate. I mean, typically we're in that 10% window. We're doing pretty good, and we landed right in the middle, which is right where I want to be. So I have no concerns with Uland Brothers. We've done a number of projects with them. Certainly qualified to do the work. They're local, so I think we'll have a good project with them. They have the resources, right? If we need more reinforcements, this is a big project. They're capable of doing it. So. Any initial questions? Otherwise, I was going to kind of jump off into how things shook out.
So walk us forward now from this point in terms of, you said you're going to take a while more to digest them and review them, and then, you know, I know the citizens' question's going to be, when does the rubber hit the road?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, to go through the bid just at a high level, a lot of the savings was on our project. The counties, so we had 2 separate plan sets, 2 separate bid schedules. A lot of the call it savings for lack of a better word, on Uland's bid was actually on our project. And I think we saw it in the efficiency and just scale of the project. Things like mobilization, both contracts have mobilization. Our percentage of project cost on mobilization was way less than St. Louis County. So I have no control over how a contractor weights that, but they decided to weight the counties heavier than our piece of it. So one of my concerns going into this is we would get burned on the back end of that. They would weight ours heavier than the counties, but that didn't shake out that way. But just across the board, the blacktop tonnage was $86 a ton. We had 105. I just opened a project in Silver Bay last week. We're at, I think it's like 150 a ton for similar tonnage on a local basis, but still, I mean, significantly different. One piece that probably plays into that, we do have a fuel escalation clause in this contract, which allows us to adjust some of the things that are influenced by the price of oil. I didn't have that in Silver Bay, so I mean, putting these things in there certainly made a difference. Pipe prices came in generally where we thought they would. Mobilization was significantly less than I thought it was. I've been seeing closer to 10% on projects up here. This is closer to 5, which is where I've typically seen it is around 5, but just lately it's been creeping up. Contractors tend to put a lot of their fixed costs into that, and they're kind of guaranteed that money when they put it on their mold versus, you know, linear footage unit price. They have to put the material in to get it. So, but no, that was good. So as far as how the funding package shook out, there's a summary page in your packet. That's what I wanted to go over in somewhat detail. So we have a different number of grants on this project. So this is just our funding breakdown. This does not have the majority of the county's cost. There is a line item for St. Louis County. That'll be their cost share and some storm sewer that we're putting down First Street and First Avenue in front of the Hive. That's gonna take county stormwater, and so they have about a 50% cost share in that. So that's where that comes in. It has nothing to do necessarily with their CASA 100 costs. That's separate, but we have drinking water revolving fund, so that's any funding we're utilizing through the states for the drinking water program. So that's water main essentially. Oh, you guys able to find it? I'm sorry, I can wait. It's after the abstract.
So the one with the green.
You told me to put all this in there.
So is this one here?
Yep, that's the one.
All right.
That's the one.
This is basically a 2-year bid, correct?
These are the fixed prices till we're done.
Okay,
So-
so that's like the mobilization, that's only gonna be a one-time fee?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
We have, I'm not too worried about this, but I have been putting language in my specs that, you know, if it's over 5%, we reserve the right to hold anything over 5% until, you know, we're basically done with the project and we'll pay out the, that does help them from front loading that mobilization, cause they're not gonna get it till the end anyways. But here, I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that, but, no, the prices as we see are fixed now until we're done, so.
So we don't have to worry about it creeping up or things being thrown in extra?
There certainly could be change of condition, which would facilitate a change order, so that would be potentially extra. We do have a contingency in here. Primarily, that's for some of the unknowns associated with the water services, so I think there's like 90-some water services that we have to run into the basement again. Well, there's 2 ways to do that. We could bid that just each, and they just put a high number on it, right? And they're not going into every house before they bid it, so they kind of just make some very aggressive assumptions. Here, I basically said, we're gonna pay you by the linear foot for water main up to the foundation, and then it's on you to hire a plumber to take it to, there's no meters, but take it to the meter, and then submit an invoice for that, and then we'll pay you based on that invoice. Because they have to have a plumber do that. So once you get to the foundation, you need a licensed plumber to do that. And so what that does is that takes that risk out for the contractor and allows us to see the savings, right? Versus we'd be paying $10,000 a service because they just would bid unknowns into it. So we do have a contingency to cover that. There's also some extra to cover some any unforeseen things. You know, overall as a bid, there's so that $500,000 for the water service is built into there. I think we'll use probably half to $300,000 to get those water services plumbed in. There's some other, you know, potential for contaminated soils that we want to be able to mitigate. So that, I mean, there's some fluff, we'll call it for lack of a better term, to just help work through that, and so we're not going back to the well if some of those things pop up. But so this is what is going to the Department of Health. So that is the next step. We've bid the project, we've determined a funding split. This first page is the summary of that. The subsequent pages are kind of how I got there for each specific project. So it's not just on the local streets, it's not just the water main that's funded through the WIP program or the drinking water revolving fund. We also say, well, to put that water main in, we need to tear up a portion of the street. So a portion of that street is grant eligible too. It's not just the water main, it's a portion of the street above it. And so how we determine that portion is based on percentages of project costs that water main is, then we can assign a percentage of the street cost to the water main, and really try and maximize those grant dollars. And so you can dig into the weeds. I'm happy to, you know, one-on-one go through things if you want to better understand how we got to these percentages. But at the end of the day, we're capturing a portion of those street costs in the drinking water and clean water, which is the sewer state funding programs, which we are grant eligible due to our debt service for our wastewater plant and our water plants and all these other projects we've been doing creates that grant eligibility. Another huge portion of cost that's eligible is my cost. The engineering is also eligible, just like the street, because a portion of you know, the cost to design the water main and the sewer is now captured with that as well. So that's all part of this spreadsheet to get there. And so just going through that funding summary, I broke it down by the different programs. What amount is loan? What amount is grant? What do I think will need to be bonded? This is the all-in project cost. So this is the design engineering, the construction engineering, the construction cost. So with those drinking water and clean water revolving fund grants, we're always going to have a 20% loan. We will never get 100% grant through those programs. The WIF cap, which we're talking about on the water plant, is now at 10 million. We're not there on this project, but we're always going to have that 20% loan. So that's the loan cost. The reason we don't want to just roll that into the bond is we can get a low interest loan for that portion of the grant. And so that loan through the drinking water or the clean water program will be probably 1 to 1.5%, versus our bond is probably going to be 4.5%. So I mean, on $1 million, that's 30, 40 grand a year in savings right there, utilizing that loan source. We can't roll all project costs into that loan. Additional street costs and things like that. It's just specific to the water or the sewer infrastructure improvements. But it's basically an 80-20 split. So like under the CASA 100, we have 1.81 or 1.981 million in drinking water eligible costs, and so 20% of that is 396,000, and then 80% is 1.6 million will be grant eligible on that. Same thing, we have a little bit of sanitary sewer on CASA 100. That's that cost split. And then we're doing the additional work to the alleys on 2nd Avenue. Even 1st Avenue we're going a little bit. And then going north to 4th Avenue on Main Street, that's that $731,000 cost. The other piece in that is the additional electrical stuff we're doing with the high amperage outlets and stuff like that. That's all built into that as well. The electronic sign that's going to go in Pine Grove Park, the foundation for that, the electrical to feed that. There's some additional electrical to feed some security cameras that are going to be outfitted. That's all in that $731,000 cost. The county's paying for the lighting, the decorative lighting, the outlets on the lighting, but they're not paying for the additional electrical stuff. To do these high amperage outlets, we have to run dedicated wire, dedicated conduit. That's all a separate system, and so that's all built into that. The grant there is based on the amount we got. $600,000 through the state for downtown beautification. That was a approximation of what's left. So applying that, and then the rest would just have to be bonded for that cost. Getting down to the local street project, again, it's just summarizing those drinking water funds, the clean water funds, that 80-20 split between loan and grant. There's also the MnDOT local road improvements, the safe routes to school dollars. We can't double tap that. We can't say, hey, we spent $1 million on 1st Avenue. Let's get $1 million back from the Department of Health for the street. Let's also get it from MnDOT. They don't let you do that. We do have to prove that we're not double dipping. That's all been factored into the equation here. But we get down to that City of Aurora local cost, and so it ends up being about $3.3 million. We have that $500,000 IRRB grant. We're anticipating another $500,000 with the next grant cycle, and so that's the $1 million grant next to the City of Aurora line item, which leaves us with an overall bonded amount. I would anticipate about $2.7 million. There is some cost with bonding, so I think your overall bond will probably be a little bit higher than that, probably closer to 3 by the time you pay the bonding agent and the financial people to do their thing. Wouldn't be the worst idea to go a little bit higher, just so you have some contingency as well if something comes up. We've talked about extending 4th Street from 1st Avenue to Central potentially with the project, and making that field change next year, just so we can do stuff like that. But overall, our project costs to do all of our work with the county's CASA 100, and then all of our local street work, engineering, construction, admin, is about $13.59 million. Anticipate about $9.1 million in grants, 1.3 in that low interest loan, and then about a $2.7 million bond. Special assessments will come through on this as well, so that'll be part of that bond cost. So I think those were hovering around $1 million, so the true impact to the levy is probably closer to that 1.7 million. So All this aligns pretty well with what we presented last September? When we brought that preliminary package, when we were trying to set the preliminary levy. I think this bonding amount is less than that, so I mean, everything's coming in where we anticipated. You know, we did come in under the engineer's estimate on things. Well, part of that is we jacked some costs up because we're in a war with Iran and the price of oil is double what it was 2 months ago, and so I think that drove the estimate up. There was also some minor scope things we added at the end there to get this thing pulled together. But everything still shook out right where we wanted it to, so I feel good about our bids. We have a strong funding package. I mean, this doesn't happen on street projects every time we do this, so. There is a lot here. I am very eager to answer any questions.
Well, first of all, great kudos to the team, you know, for putting it together. Obviously, it was addressed what the contractors wanted and brought us some good results here. I'm just curious if you had the estimates there and they came in less and the project plays out and therefore the costs are less, that isn't factored into here, right? This could, if we were confronted with the good fortune of having, you know, 9% less costs, how would that shake out between like the county and us, and when would we make that decision, in 27?
Good question. So this is our funding package that gets finalized going in, but everything doesn't get final until we're done with the project. We have true quantities on water main installed, street built, like all of the final funding will get locked in and based on actual constructed quantities. So, you know, if we end up doing a little less water main for whatever reason, you'll see that in the savings. You know, if we don't use some of these contingency items, that'll come off for sure.
When we're talking with citizens, would it be fair to say to them that this looks like it's a cost not to exceed?
I would it's a fair
Yeah, that
statement.
way.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because savings in 26 could become used or
Correct.
needed in 27.
Correct.
Depending what you find.
I would not make a statement at the end of 26 based on, you know, what we
Right.
anticipate, because our portion of the project in 26, we're probably only, I mean, basically it's the CASA 100 that we're doing in 2026, right? Most of the local street project is next year. So I think next year is going to be more chaotic than this year. I mean, certainly it's more impactful this year with the transportation network, but the amount of work that has to get done next year is still pretty incredible. I mean, both years it's incredible. So, and to be honest, it's probably more of a 3-year project. They have to hit substantial completion by next year, but I mean, it trickles over, right? We have to get everything seeded, and this concrete's broken over here, and we didn't quite finish the sidewalk here, and substantial completion is we can use the project as intended. So in general, we can drive on the road.
That's a question. Now, the county, I'm sure, will do a full 2 lifts.
Yep.
What about the city streets? Are you planning to put the wear code on the following year?
I'd have to look. I think it's in there that we are. I can't remember exactly where. Usually they're pretty open to having that discussion to delay paving because they have the same concerns we do. If there's settlement, they don't want to come back. And we do have a warranty bond in here. Typically the county would not do that. It'll be just on our stuff. So the utilities and the local streets, it's wrote very specific that it's not covering anything with the county state highway surfacing, but it does cover our utilities underneath. So that'll be a 2-year warranty bond from substantial completion, so that'll push us to basically 2029.
So if we had a Biwabbing situation, it'd be covered.
And I would anticipate
Not meaning to bring up skeletons in the closet.
No, that would be crazy, yeah.
So.
Wonder how many times you're gonna get that. Yeah,
I would say I'm not familiar with the project.
yeah.
I don't know.
Really, I don't think I was there for that. You should have said that. You should have said that. I don't think I was there for that.
What percent of the total cost is the contingency?
500,000, so 500.
Oh, that's it, is a $500,000 contingency.
Yep. So there's other contingency items in there, like I have haul and dispose of contaminated soil, which basically what is your cost per cubic yard to haul it to Keewatin? It's a minor number. I think we had like 500 yards in there. It's enough where I get a competitive price, but it's not. Because the last thing I want is we find contaminated material and then like, oh, they got us by the barrel and it's $100 a yard to truck it, which is complete BS. So there's some rock excavation in here. I don't think we're going to hit bedrock, but we're certainly going to find some Volkswagen Beetles buried in there.
For example?
Yeah, I mean, we found them on Canuty Drive, so they're out there.
Oh, boy.
But these are all things that, I mean, we argue about in the field if I don't have a pay item for it, and so it's just better to just have it in there. You gotta have enough quantity so you get a competitive price, because if I put 10 yards, they're gonna put $1,000 a yard or something on it, right? So you wanna keep them honest. But, you know, in general, when I looked at their bid, it felt like a fair bid. They're not gouging anything. Nothing stood out to me as ridiculous, so.
Well, that means a lot, you know. When
Yeah.
You see a lot of these things, and we look to you, you know,
Yep.
for expert perspective, and that's very reassuring.
I appreciate thoroughness.
Yep, I
I mean, it's good, very good work, I think.
appreciate that. I like to have the leverage when we're contracting. The worst thing is you find something, and not to say it won't happen, right? We can't flush out everything, but when we can have a price for something that we could need, it's good to have in there. So.
And we have a contingency plan, right, for where they're putting their equipment, so we don't have another issue?
We don't necessarily define that. That'll come up at the pre-con where they're staging, and like we don't say, hey, you need to park your equipment on this lot. It's kind of on them to negotiate that. I would bet, you know, potentially Lakehead or something like that. A lot of it will sit on the actual construction site.
Weren't we planning the park?
Potentially in year two, yeah, for sure.
Oh, in year two.
Most of that work will be year two, and so maybe they keep some stuff down there. You know, where they store their materials, potentially that would be a great place for it. I try not to define that. I'd rather let them kind of work it out, and we just nod our head, yep, that looks good. So.
Given the previous issues, is it possible to define that in this project so that we don't have anything come up?
Well, at least a mandate, I think, to what you're referring, not to use private property.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, that's always part of the pre-con is like, where's your laydown area? Where's your toilets going? Where's your material storage? All that's talked about. This is significantly bigger project than last year's stuff, so I mean, they have way more areas to work within, so to keep it close by. So.
More questions, or it's a lot to bite down on, but
I guess to round out your question, Mayor, next steps is presumably the council would recommend the county award the contract. So tonight, there is a resolution there that's relative to our assessments. That's why we need the resolution is to keep that assessment process going that we've advertised, we've accepted the bids. The county intends to award it at their May 18th meeting. They're making a temporary exception or on their rules where they don't need to do a public reading and then come back to the next meeting and accept it, which basically accelerates the award process to one meeting. They said it'll be 2 to 3 weeks to get the contract executed in place, get things rolling. I would anticipate a pre-con that first week of June probably, and then I mean we'll be rolling shortly after. Phase 1 has to be done by August 28th. That deadline doesn't move. It's coming whether they like it or not, so they're going to want to get going very, very quickly.
so there isn't anything about the staging plan at this point, for instance, that would interfere with like the July 3rd celebration ground rules that we know now?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, because that came up at that meeting.
I have not seen a schedule from
Yeah.
that. We haven't seen anything from
No,
that.
no.
We do have the neighborhood meeting the 28th, so that's that Thursday at the community center. There will be representatives from Uland there. We're going to be reaching out to them to have just a schedule meeting before that meeting, just so as the project team we understand what is your schedule. Let's have a united voice going into this meeting. But the pre-con won't be till probably after that community meeting. I like to do it closer to construction because memories get short on what we talk about. So, but
Let's see, we have about a minute or two, I think, until the meeting's supposed to start. Any legal updates or
Not at this time, just what's on the agenda.
do we have any legal actions pending in court or not? That you're, I was just trying to,
Well, yeah, but not.
Some, but no resolution, just the ones that have been pending,
okay. All right, well,
unless you'll,
don't wanna get into legal
First person
matters.
to know, I
Yeah.
promise.
I was just kinda curious.
Just love.
Let's see. Well, any other comments from other counselors? All right.
Mr. Mayor, one other thing, there are 2 grant agreements in here, the MnDOT SRTS and then the LRIP grants.
Right.
These are the MnDOT, I mean, this is the final grant agreement with the sources and uses attached. I totally acknowledge that this slightly differs from what I presented. This was prepared by MnDOT. I was recommended by MnDOT not to alter it. So I just want to point out that I do acknowledge it's slightly different than our overall cost, but that is what MnDOT wants it to say. So, same thing with the resolutions. That's what they gave me, that's what they said they wanted, and so that's how I presented it.
Well, if they give us the money that we want,
You
I
can
guess
do whatever
they
you want.
They get some slack.
Yeah, but they are very particular on this stuff, so.
All right, yeah. Yeah, it was a little confusing. I had indicated to Jeff when we were talking about it that the same cost things were Exhibit A on both contracts.
Yeah.
But it was really incorporating both of them instead of the individual ones. But anyway,
It's-
they'll get it sorted out.
It's
right?
binding to take their money, so whatever
Yes.
they need.
Yeah, what the piper wants, yeah.
And just a reminder to council that updates, we will need to adopt the updated agenda. That will need to be the first item that we do before the consent agenda. So just a reminder. And it was Friday after the training, so I apologize for missing those 2 items. I should have known both of them, so.
Can't be 2 places at once, even in this.
My
one.
mind was still in Metro.
All right, I'll entertain a
Just one
motion.
quick,
Oh,
quick
all right, sorry.
final update. I will probably be requesting, that the EDA gets together in the near future for some potential action on Spectral Industrial Park.
Yeah, I would say we should do that in the other, so we should probably bump other before we do the closed session. The closed session should not take too long, as well for you, but just maybe bump up other before we do that close in
Okay.
case for items like that, so Donna can be present to record those items.
Okay, once again, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Moved by Counselor Hanson, supported by Counselor Keene. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we stand adjourned for a few minutes.
Doug, could I just really quick print something? Could you wait for me quickly? Is that okay?
What?
Could I run to the printer really quickly? Could you not start?
Okay.
I promise I'm not gonna run though. Yeah.
and we don't wanna look at shoes.
I wouldn't run in high heels.
No, let me look at your shoes, yeah,
Yeah,
don't
that's
run.
exactly why I'm going to.
Don't run with those boots. Don't run with those boots. We don't wanna hear kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Going in school, to get the costs in line.
Well, he struck men with ties and women with high heels.
He's pretty chill.
So are we looking at, if you ever look into the history of high heels, I think men were the first to wear them.
They were, I
Yeah,
think.
100%.
All the same.
That's a PFA loan, all of that.
But I think
Yep.
women countered that.
Yep.
They
Actually,
came
it
up
was
with
probably
those.
short emperors that.
Chelsea did, no.
High
All
heels.
the pay requests, all of it, like all you have to do is cut the check, once you get the money.
Oh,
So I
well, this is a really good
will
part,
be
yeah.
submitting for reimbursements again like I have been for the water board and.
That's a lot to
We'll do it on your behalf.
Adjust.
kudos to the
the
whole
county's
crew,
doing the pay apps.
the way they put all the pieces in.
So,
And the
I
added,
just have
you
to
know,
Yeah.
Second.
and all the uniqueness of doing the dance with the county. I mean, you know, it's one thing to
To
do
the
it on your own.
difference between the ordinance
But,
and the law.
boy, in this environment, to
The
get a
law.
bid that's lower than that.
The law
Because
Well,
they're gonna
there's
need
what they're
to see
specifically
that
for.
definitely.
And I don't mean to,
So why?
Jeff will
until
be
you
assigned
get to
to
the
this
bottom of the
thing
hole,
too,
you don't
so
know what's in it.
I'll make
You
sure
start
you're
digging.
They're gonna be considered, is that federal?
Well, you know that.
Sufficient.
Okay.
There shouldn't be much rock because I
think
went
the
to
latter,
Cambridge
but
when
I'd have
they
to-
Because I
sent
remember
out.
covering that.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, we just might be going to the same line
Profiles
again.
that they did.
Oh, I see a lot of, yeah, right, that was smooth as silk last year, so.
Yeah.
The money
That's
flows
okay.
through
At
the
least
state.
At least,
Surprised
goes
I'm
Right.
not crazy for asking.
EPA to the Department of Health or MPCA and then to us.
Oh, if it's EPA, it's
Yeah,
has to
yeah, and then they hit.
I mean, I've dug all the way to down, I've never.
It's,
as long
it's
as,
town's
as
headaches mostly.
long as we have all of the documentation,
Yep.
the pay requests and
Yep.
stuff, that's how we share it with the Constitution.
All right.
And I'll run.
If you're
all
missing
good.
anything, just
I'll
send me
run
an
the
email.
project
When you
folder
go to dig
again
over there,
and track everything.
The soil
Okay.
is all, it isn't like it should be.
So what was the,
That.
Still
what
think
got
that
it the lowest median income that?
So it's probably
the grant?
utility
For the-
versus city
TFA?
The PFA.
infrastructure, right?
So
So
is
there's
the
voids
debt service that we
Yeah.
have
Was.
on the water
I'm
and
sure they're
wastewater
filled
plant
in by now with fines.
fall
Because-
That
under
explains,
grant
yeah.
eligibility.
I've dug out a few basements over there that had cracks in them.
Okay.
Because of your household income is so low, the affordability, the lo-
Big boulders or?
the lower the household income,
I took one
the
up
lower
for
you
just
can
to give a
afford.
count one
So
time.
it's a circuit
Tight,
breaker that's
it just
taken
went
out.
bang when I got to it.
So we'll be able to, so like I have
Threats, basement.
That's
second
very
street
common.
listed.
Did a little patch on the outside, throw a piece in, smash one, it never had leaked up to it.
Now, now if they could just work that stuff in there where you, if you spend a certain amount of money to upgrade your plant, and then they change the,
Sorry.
We waited,
change
are
your
you
requirements.
situated yet?
Or we've done it.
I am now, yeah.
So,
Yeah, mine doesn't squeak, so.
and I've seen different numbers, so we can talk about that, but if we spend $500.
You ready to go?
Restitution.
And new
All right,
reviews
it's,
and 6 later.
according to the internet,
Good.
6:03, it's Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. We're at the City Council Chambers in the City Government Center in Aurora, and our meeting that normally takes place at 5:30 is taking place today at 6, and I will call that meeting to order, and can we have a roll call, please?
Gregor?
Here.
Berquist? Here. Hanson?
Here.
Hess?
Here.
Keen?
Here,
All right, we have the full council present. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I believe at this time we be in order to entertain a motion to adopt the updated agenda. Is there a motion to that effect? Moved by Councilor Berquist, seconded by Councilor Hess. And just by way of explanation, there were a lot of logistic problems in the last week, and the agenda got slightly amended, but not radically. So, any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The revised agenda is adopted. Turning then to our agenda, referring to agenda item 4 is the consent agenda. That portion of the agenda items that we traditionally adopt in one motion at one time because they're perceived to not be controversial, but still need our approval. And we always give the councilors an opportunity to ask for some of those items to be considered separately. Councilors, any items that anybody wants removed from the consent agenda?
Can we talk about the community comment? Just the one about the cemetery flowers? Would that be okay?
Let's see, community,
12.
which number? Oh,
12.
here, down at 12.
Yeah.
All right, so you want that?
Yeah, can we just, a brief discussion on it, if that'd be okay?
Yeah, so let's just pull that, approve the rest of the consent.
Yeah,
agenda.
and then we'll come back?
Yeah.
All right. So if that's okay, we'll do that way. Any other items to be removed?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
With the item number 12 removed, is there support? Councilor Hess moves, Councilor Berquist supports. Further discussion on the consent agenda? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now to go and talk more specifically about the consent agenda item that was removed, community comments. Councilor Berquist, do you want to maybe make some comments on that?
So we had a question about artificial flowers in the cemetery, and I just was curious if the cemetery board was able to discuss that at the last meeting and what they came up with out of that.
It will stay the same as it is without artificial flowers,
Why is that?
because we've had problems with the way you're getting caught in lawnmowers,
Okay,
so the board decided to leave it the way it is.
okay.
That was our biggest problem, because people don't take care of them either, and then pretty soon they're scattered all over, and then lawnmowers catch them and whip the wire around, and that was the reason for it.
Okay.
So, right, Lindsay?
Yes, that was my understanding as well.
Okay. That was it. Thanks.
All right. I don't think we necessarily have to go to a separate vote on that item, do we? No. All right, proceed. All right, moving to the rest of the agenda now. Let's see, moving to, pardon me,
15?
I go away for a month and
Item 15, I believe, Doug.
Pardon?
Item 15.
15, all right. All right, the report from counselors. All right, so we'll start with their newest counselor, Counselor Keene.
I attended the HRA meeting. I'm looking forward to the next meeting where they will be coming and joining us together for the HRA and EDA joint meeting. I also last weekend took a group of Girl Scouts to UWS College. Great learning experience and growing, so all local girls. Gearing up for summer, finally looks like we might, knock on wood, have spring actually here, no more snow. So I was really excited to see the street sweepers come out. You could see the clean sides, so that's where I'm at right now.
Very good, thank you, Counselor Keene. Counselor Berquist.
Last week we had the East Range Summit that was hosted by North Span and the East Range Joint Powers Board. Was a very interesting discussion. I thought the keynote speaker was really good. We did a drive around through the different communities, and she had some interesting feedback for us that we'll probably have some discussions on in the future. It was kind of neat to hear an outside perspective on our lovely communities. The cemetery cleanups tomorrow at 10. I'll have an extra rake if anybody wants to come out. The fire department's still looking for volunteers and would like to remind people to please check current burn restrictions or fire advisories before starting a fire right now, especially considering we are coming up on and in wildfire season. We'd like to prevent any issues really affecting us like last summer. And then tomorrow night is the Rams Iron Ore region update at the Aurora Community Center. I think it's at
5
Is it
o'clock.
at 5? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock.
Now, for those watching, that is a wonderful meeting to attend as far as the future of iron ore on the range here with some real challenges that they're doing a great job of at least trying to envision and deal with. Councilor Berquist, anything else? Nope.
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Councilor Hanson.
Two quick items. The book sale that was recently held was quite a success. I haven't heard the figures, but I'd like to thank not only the Friends of the Library, but also other volunteers that helped make that a success, but especially the patrons, the people that come in and purchase. They're not for sale, it's a donation,
Yeah.
but to support the library. It's a very worthwhile community.
Yeah.
And we've had some talk, and we'll hear more about the upcoming street projects, and I would just like to remind people, I think the county just mailed out, you can get on the county website, there's a QR code. Bolton and Mink, I'm sure will have a site. You can come to City Hall to get information. There's information at the library. I guess what I'm saying is I would encourage residents to take advantage of these because there's gonna be a lot going on. but the information is available. If you, there's multiple sources, so please use them, so you have an idea what's going on.
There's a project hotline too that we set
Okay.
up, so. As far as like our website, we're piggybacking on the county for project specific.
Okay.
We do have that other website that'll just link to that. So otherwise it's too cumbersome trying to balance.
right.
and-
As Deputy City Clerk was listing off to me all the different avenues by which people can get information, and hopefully we'll be able to get that shopping list essentially out to the public too, to get options to people with different comfort levels on some of the areas to go to. So, yeah, thanks very much. Thank you, Councilor Hanson. Councilor Hess.
Don't have too much. We had a East Range Public Safety Board tonight. We did interviews, hired an officer, or offered him a job. He'll be graduating from school Friday, I believe.
Yep.
And as long as he passes boards and stuff, then he'll probably go in as an intern in the meantime, because it takes about 2 months to get somebody on board, so we hired him. The only other thing, I got a question for Jeff. Did anybody do anything about that sewer line coming out of the car wash to that catch basin that's sanded up
Yeah, that was what, 2 or 3 months ago, right?
No.
Yeah.
last week?
That was Jen
last week?
last week, and right now I'm reviewing the ordinances and regulations on that, on what we can do on that. It sounds like there's issues with both buildings and some of the stuff that's out in the street. But I think it's gonna come down to getting some type of inspection and checking on regulations on what's in there. 'Cause those are about the two worst businesses that I could think of to be on a shared line. You got one putting grease and one putting sand. And then our system putting in, at the time, cold water. So there's some deficiencies in there. We don't know that there's a sump pump in there, and whether the grease separator on one side and the trough that's supposed to separate the sand, the little grid chamber, those should be working up to a certain level that we have no idea on.
I just stopped there an hour and 15 minutes ago. Them sludge pits are full to the top, so that sand's all going down the drain.
Inside the bay,
Yeah. I stopped there before I come in. So something's got to be done.
I think that's gonna come down to maybe it's kind of a code compliance issue, that they're gonna have to have something in there that just puts clean water down the drain.
Probably never had a problem there until the new owners took it. When Harry Oxford owned it, A&W's been there for 29 years, they've never had a problem. Because Harry used to have them pumped out. Now it isn't being done, so it's all going down the sewer. So it fills the manhole full of sand.
Well,
It's gotta be taken care of. You just can't keep pushing it under the table.
Does the business fall under the same sewer line inspection as the residences for sales?
Yes, it's all,
So did they, do you know, because it is currently for sale?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yes, I don't think they have a sewer line, but I would have to look into that.
There's 2 sewer lines coming out of the car wash.
2 sewer lines coming out of Bellevue, so I don't think that was done, so
I don't
that's
think
something,
it's been done either.
that's
And
something
there
to
would be-
look into.
There would be the actual line going from the building out to the
Right.
street, but then inside the building, there are those things
Right.
that are supposed to separate it out and all that sort of be inspected under that, but there is regulations on that should be
Just
Yeah, maybe.
as part of a pre-sale, if they're supposed to have that pre-sale inspection done, maybe we can check into that first,
Maybe
since
we
we already
could-
have that on the books.
Yeah, we can certainly look into
could
that.
get a report back at the next meeting or
Yeah,
something,
certainly.
some proposed avenue to.
We could even put that on next week's, really, while it's still fresh in our minds, if that gives
Yeah, we had
enough
talked about
time.
it, it'll be at the agenda next week.
All right, further, Councilor Hess? All right, well, I was somewhat distracted over the last month, but first of all, just kudos to the organizers of the volunteer recognition event that was held on the 23rd at the community center, and to all those volunteers, deeply appreciated who showed up and hopefully had a chance to be amongst some of the first people of sampling the pizza offerings from the copper nickel. So it was it's certainly a great opportunity to commend all those individuals and encourage others to volunteer also. Let's see, a couple items coming up that I don't think have been mentioned. One's the citywide pickup is coming in the first week of September before our next meeting. June 1st?
Yeah, it said September.
Oh, September. No, I'm sorry, yeah. No,
June
June,
1st
what
to
is
the
it,
4th.
1st through the 4th? Yeah, 1st through the 4th, the citywide pickup that there'll be details, I'm sure, available to specify which items can be put out for pickup in those situations. And then as a prelude to that, there's a Chambers-sponsored rummage sale taking place on the preceding Saturday, so.
Friday, Saturday.
What?
Friday, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday of May, before the June pickup there. So that's all going on. Let's see, the legislature will be ending, according to the Constitution, next week, and the beginning of it. And so I'm at least, and I think a lot of us associated with the water project are standing by eagerly, hoping that a bonding bill will be passed, in which we should be able to get up to $3.5 to $5 million more of water infrastructure grant money for the water project. So stay tuned on that. Let's see. I also participated in a Teams meeting on Minnesota Power Integrated Resource Plan, and just was kind of interesting in hearing all of the, as they transition into new ownership, how they're preserving their objectives of going to the renewable, 90% level of renewable energy by 2030, and how they are dealing with various facilities of utilizing some natural gas conversions, but in any event, seems like a successor ownership group that's very committed to similar sort of corporate culture and environmental ethics, going ahead on that. So that was an interesting Teams meeting to sit in on, listen on, and I believe that's all I've got for Mayor's report. So, moving back to the agenda, under agenda item 17, old business, 17.1, community engagement procedures. Who's going to lead the discussion on that? Jeff, or this city administrator? Or what?
So we've been a little bit on the community engagement piece. The folks that were really kind of kicked this off have become a little bit radio silent on some of the issues. So it's turned into more of a community education piece, kind of community outreach. Right now, there's actually a really good session going on through League of Minnesota Cities that is putting out a lot of stuff that we could essentially use with a cut and paste or a find and replace of putting Aurora's name in some of the other examples, really just as far as like what happens at the council meeting, how they're conducted, who the players are, all that type of stuff, just to bring in people that are really have a basic knowledge of how the city operates, and not cause some of the frustration that they don't really know who does what or how things get done. But kind of plagiarizing from some of these other communities that are being held up as best practices probably gets us most of the way to where we want to be.
So those were in line with what Moorhead and Northfield were two.
And then-
Were they also featured kind of at that?
This was Red Wing and,
Red Wing and Roseville,
Yeah.
Roseville, and then Northfield was mixed in a little bit, but most of the good stuff I saw was coming out of Red Wing.
it was a welcome sheet for residents who want to attend the council meetings and kind of how the procedures go and what to expect at a council meeting.
Yeah, it's impressive after all these years to realize how much we learn. Council Berquist, you've been most recently at Council Keen, absorbing it all, but it's a complex process and business of being responsible for city management and representation. So hopefully we can make it easier for those that, and there are going to be candidates encouraged encouraged for the council positions and for the mayoral position coming up this fall. And we'll hope to provide whatever assistance we can to resolve people's concerns about that, so they know what they might be getting into and hopefully entice them to do it. So, yeah. Any further discussion on that engagement matter? Or? All right, if not,
Which the text my gov is now on the website, correct?
It is, the widget is on the website, and the notifications to citizens should go out by the end of this week, so that's great, yes.
do you want to
And then-
comment on that a little bit for the audience, or the text my gov?
Yeah, so TextMyGov is a platform that we decided to go with as the council. Essentially, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's text messages received from a government entity. So we signed up. We will have, they do have data from us that they obtained regarding some numbers. So there will be an initial message that goes out that says, if you'd like to opt out, I think it says stop, please reply stop. Immediately opts you out of it, so you no longer receive messages, but hopefully you're within that data and you receive that notification. If you do not, please utilize the widget that's on the website to sign up. We will put out notifications that are urgent matters, just kind of relative matters related to the city, super pertinent timing with the construction happening. So any big changes that we see or things like that will be hopefully communicated, all the channels we would like, but this being a new channel that we could, or we're required, excuse me, but this would be a new channel that we could utilize as well. So if you haven't checked it out on the website, definitely check that out, but please expect that initial notification text to go out. I think I said Thursday to the gentleman yesterday, but I have to look at my calendar.
By the end of the week.
Yes, by the end of the week.
So
yes.
citizens will then subscribe to or indicate on the website that they want to subscribe to text messages from that.
Right from your phone, right through text,
right.
you'll talk to it. Yes, yep.
It's actually a really super simple process.
Yes.
You text a phone number and then a different one. There's two actual utilizations. One gives you the messages from the city and the other one is for your ability to text the city with comments or questions.
Yes, it's super nice. So
And,
yeah, it was
and
kind of
again,
cool.
those
Yeah.
instructions will be on the city website, right?
It's right, yep, it's on there right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Lower
so
right-hand
friendly
corner.
that you don't have to download an app.
Exactly,
Because who
yeah.
wants to download
Like,
yet
yeah, he
another
said
app?
through the website, exactly, right
Yeah.
through your phone. If you have MSG on your phone, then you have access to this platform, so.
Great. Further comments or actions on 17.1? If not, moving ahead to 17.2, which deals with the warming shack recreation building rules and procedures. I'm assuming these were somehow lifted from some other application, or?
So this is what we adopted back on March 3rd. So it's becoming grad party season for those folks who haven't gotten invites yet. It's becoming that season. So we've had a lot of inquiries at the clerk's office regarding utilizing that, especially if the community center is already taken. So there were just a couple pieces that I feel should be clarified, specifically fees associated with that. Are we thinking the same? And actually, it's super funny because your packet is humongous. So if you flip the entire packet over right now, you do have the community center guidelines in there too. But if you want to reference, but are we thinking 150? I know we spoke about it, but are you thinking 150 for the utilization of the warming shack? But are we still requiring a damage deposit? And mind you, I would suggest highly for the damage deposit, because that is just a contingency. If things are broken, stolen, damaged in any way, we're still able to then, it holds people accountable, so they respect our facilities.
Personally, I think now the community building has indoor restrooms
Mm-hmm.
and a kitchen, a sound system, so I don't think the same fee should apply.
Okay.
I do agree with the damage deposit. But maybe, I think maybe a reduced fee for the Pine Grove Park building would be prudent.
Any suggestions?
It's $400 for the community.
It's the $400 damage deposit, it's $150 for residents, and it's $200 for non-residents.
We are actually the highest of the three city communities. I don't know what town of White's is, but our rental and deposit fees are the highest.
I think Councilor Hanson's distinctive, distinction points are, well taken. The product the people are getting is not the large, the well-equipped product otherwise.
The
this is specifically to reserve it for private use, right? Not
Yes.
for
Yep.
any other time? Okay.
Well, can we go with half or some 75?
That's what I thought, it was 50 to 75.
And I would say remain consistent with the resident versus non-resident, because
Right.
most of our fees for the general fund at least have that distinguishing factor, even the cemetery
We
does.
said 50 for residents, 75 for non,
Yeah, we absolutely could. If
with the
council-
same deposit though, I would say.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's first come, first served.
How much for security deposit, 150?
No, it's 400 at the community. I would keep the security deposit the same. Because a broken window is gonna cost you $400 or more.
So we have to adopt
Well,
both the
actually-
procedures, and then we would, part of the motion.
Would you, could I say all the items outstanding and we do it in one action, or should we do it separate action?
What are you amending?
The
Just-
fees associated with that policy, that is.
No, just do a motion to,
Adopt the fees,
yeah.
okay. Yep, then yes, separate motions for all. We do have a couple items still that should be addressed for that though, so don't move on after you adopt.
And I
the
move we
fees.
set the security deposit at $400, the rental at $50 per day for resident and 75 for non-resident.
Moved by Counselor Hanson, is there support? I'll support. Further discussion?
Yeah, just as long as, if they choose not to rent it, then it is still first come, first serve, right? So
Say it again.
It is still first come, first serve if they choose not to rent the building. It's still going to be open for public use otherwise.
Yes, yes.
That's my
Okay.
understanding.
Okay. I just wanna make sure that's clear.
All right, any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries, and now, our next motion, do we have to adopt these policies and procedures?
No, there's,
No?
so
No,
there,
more,
I
okay.
said yes, there was a list of things that were outstanding, so let me pull that document back up. Right now, there are like 3 tables and probably roughly 12 chairs in there. Being that we're saying this is for rent, are we allowing them to take our brand new tables from the community center if requested and bringing them over there? Or are we sticking with those old tables and old chairs that are currently in there? And that's what they get. What do we think?
Should have put some from the community center down
Yeah.
there that we
There,
sold.
there are a few. I would have to ask Russ, rely heavily on Russ, but I think up to 5, maybe in that Zamboni room, but we displayed 3, and then kept those.
I think other than those 3, it would be a lot of tables in that small space.
Mhm.
Because it was pretty crowded as it was during the open house.
That open house, yeah.
And then I also see the higher potential for damaging the table and chairs if we allow them to transport. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
if somebody does with a large capacity rent the community center, they're not going to have the same, if we have conflicting rentals on the same day,
Okay,
I think that's gonna get messy.
yes.
So
Yeah.
I would say,
We don't want
no,
to send our
what's
new
there
stuff
and
down
what's
there, no.
there,
Yep,
not,
yes, and it's newer, and of course bias. It's very nice new
Yes.
equipment in the community
Tried
center,
and
so,
true now.
yes,
Tried and tested.
yes. So,
So do we, you have a list, you say?
No
you want-
action
I
needs to be
really,
taken?
no action on that one? Okay, then I think that was it. That was my little cute list.
Well, that was a short list.
Thank you. That's how I like it.
All right, but do we then have to adopt these policies and procedures?
They were adopted on March 3rd, so unless,
All right,
like,
You
no
just
changes.
amended the rental or the
Just amended
holding
the
and
fees.
the.
Yep.
All right, very good. All right, so that concludes our old business. Moving on to agenda item 18, new business. First up is proposed resolution 2026-24, which constitutes a recommendation to award the bid for the County State Aid Highway 100 and city improvement projects. We discussed this at length at the agenda setting meeting that preceded this, but just any additional comments from either the city administrator or city engineer for the meeting record?
I would just add this is a recommendation to the county to award. The county will hold the contract. We're tied to the county by our cooperative agreement that we previously passed. So,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-24.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor Hess and supported by Councilor Keen. Just trying to see if there are any
make it, be sure, because looking at the resolution and then the Bolton Mank, are there multiple Yulin brothers? Because our resolution has Bouquet and Bolton Mank has Virginia, so I just wanna make sure that
Same company.
we have, does it matter which location?
As far as my stuff, no. They do have offices in both locations, so I probably just,
I just wanna make sure it's not gonna be a problem with the resolution.
Well, I just wanted to state for the record, the point I was trying to make earlier was, as counselors, at least I don't feel equipped to go in depth at a deep dive on a bid like this and understand all the nuances of one way or another. But I have supreme confidence in our city engineer staff and their review of it. And so in their accompanying letter, they make this statement, based on our review of the bids received and our experience with contractor performance on similar projects in recent years, it's our professional opinion that Yulin Brothers is qualified to perform the work required under this contract, and I believe goes on to recommend that we award the bid to them. So as part of the record, at least this member of the council is not independently trying to judge these things, very much relying upon our professional staff and engineers who have yet to disappoint us. So they did a great job, I think, at soliciting the bids and getting them, and for the viewing public, the bids came in lower than the engineer's estimate, so. All right, now, with those,
To answer the question,
it
Josh?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, okay, good.
all
That's
right,
fine.
so we do have a motion on the table, right? And it's been supported. Any further discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have our instructions to proceed with
Another just kind
contracting.
of reassuring item on that is, as Josh said, that's a pretty complex system of bids and agreements between us and the county and the others. We've already started, there's regular administrative check-ins on the calendar to make sure that all that stuff gets handled. Some of this money we'll never see, some of it flows through us, some of it doesn't, some of it goes straight from them to the contractor. So we already set a schedule of making sure that we check in every week to go over any issues that are coming up with that.
All right, well, an ambitious and significant moment in the history of our city.
It is.
Proceeding with that, so, now, proceeding on to agenda item 18.2, proposal of services for the construction management of these projects by the Bolton and Mank engineering firm. We have a letter of explanation in there on the fee basis, and they're estimating a fee of $1,216,000 for their construction management of the project. And believe it's appropriate, we're looking for authorization to enter into that relationship. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, is there a motion then to?
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Counselor Hess to approve the contracting with Bolton and Mank for the services?
Right.
All right, is there support for
I'll
that?
support it.
Supported by Counselor.
I do have a question.
Hanson. All right.
This amount, this is until the entire project, which is which could possibly
Be 2018.
be 2029.
Potentially, I mean,
Potentially.
this is doing everything.
Okay.
Cradle to grave.
Thank you.
Grant administration, construction administration, coordination, review, inspection.
Till the
full time.
last flower is planted.
But I just want to put another kind of reassuring note, and I don't think people a lot of times realize that this is in there. We look at the service they provide, inspection, all that type of stuff. But if you look in, there's a bullet point in there that includes quantity tracking. So what that means is a lot of these items are pretty darn expensive, and they ensure that the amount of things that we pay for are the amount of things that we get. So it's not just checking the specs and all that type of stuff. It is actual reassurance that we're getting what we're paying for.
That came up on the alley project last year. We disagreed on aggregate quantities, and they didn't have anything to substantiate it. I have proof. I mean, they're asking for another 30,000 or something, right? And so.
Well, appreciate those vigilant efforts, yes. I think the legislature's wrestling with similar issues there. All right, so we have a motion and support on the table. Any further discussion on the motion to contract with Golden Bank for those services? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, another key element of a project of that nature. So, moving on then to proposed resolution 2026-20, the Safe Routes to School grant agreement. Been asked to approve that. Just one mayoral note of interest, I believe the statutes provide that not just the city administrator, but the mayor must sign all contracts for the city, so it's certainly appropriate to direct that we're going to authorize the execution of the grant agreement, but I'm assuming it's included in that will comply with the state statute, not just the city administrator. So, we have the proposed resolution in front of us related to the Safe Routes to School. The grant that we're receiving on that, is there a motion to?
I move we adopt resolution 2026-20.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilor Hanson, and supported by Councilor Hess. And again, for the record of those who didn't maybe see the agenda setting, this is a $1 million grant, which through vigorous efforts from the city administration was awarded to us for redoing the intersection by the school pool, making a more direct route from 3rd Avenue up to the athletic areas there, quite generous. And this will enable us to access those funds. So we have the motion and support on the table. Any further discussion? And any comments from staff? No? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That component of the project.
Just a kind of interesting side, a couple people have pointed out, so this money that we'll be using for construction in 26 and 27, it was a 2023 grant. So that's the timeline, and that's the work ahead of time that's done in order to get architects going to the ideal scope and scale.
Turning next to agenda item 18.4, proposed resolution 2026-21, local road improvement program grant agreement. Let's see. City administrator, any comments to make on this? Nope. All right, Commissioner. So these would be funds that would be utilized in connection in particular with our First Avenue?
Correct.
Project, yeah. And it's for a $1.5 million grant. Is there a motion to approve the proposed resolution?
Make a motion.
I'll second. Unless somebody else
It's
did,
fine.
sorry.
Moved by Councilor Hess and supported by Councilor Keen, and endorsed by Councilor Berquist, who was eagerly trying to get into the line
fine.
there. So, any further discussion on the proposed motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 18.5 on our agenda, which is the proposed resolution 2026-22, the build project letter of support, which has to do with the potential bridge project, I believe, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Any additional comments for the record to, trying to find my resolution here.
It goes back. Page 20.
Well, I'll take it on confidence here. So the resolution's before us. Is there a motion to approve the letter of support for that build project of,
I'll motion.
yeah, moved by Councilor Berquist, supported by
Supported.
Councilor Hanson. And, yeah, this is just a letter of support.
Correct.
We're not making the application itself.
St. Louis County is making the application. This is a federal transportation grant. Very big program, very competitive. I don't have a sense to their success on it and how likely that is, but these grants are hard to get, so.
I believe they applied for two different grants, right?
Yep, they went after the FRA
Yep.
money, and then this is separate. This fund gets used a lot, so like they're redoing Superior Street in Duluth, kinda where Bent Paddle is and whatnot. That has a build grant tied to it. There's another one St. Louis County got for Rice Lake Road, out by Boomtown. They came to the council meeting, asked for a letter of support, so similar program. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Dick Lund did think that they had a better shot at this one than the other one. Whether that's wishful thinking out loud or based on something, I don't know, but that was his comment.
Well, in any event, our resolution can't hurt it, I'm sure, so, remind me if I asked for a, motion.
We have one on the table.
Yep, there's one on the table, all right. So any further discussion on the motion on the table? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 18.6 has to do with a letter of support for the a proposed project in the intersection of Minnesota 169 and Minnesota 1 near the Y store up by Lake Vermillion. And it's their safety project, and the application's indicated there. It'd be in order, I believe, to have a motion to send a letter of support for that project.
I would make that motion, that intersection is horrible.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 50 years, believe me, I know, yeah.
I'll
All
support
right,
that.
so moved by, what, Counselor Berquist, and supported by Counselor Hanson, to issue, I assume, as mayor, I'd send that letter, and support, hopefully with the assistance of some drafting. So, any further discussion on the motion?
I just wanna say that I think it's really interesting and that the tribal organization is reaching out so far as us to send a letter of support. That means a lot, that this intersection means a lot to them, because this is known for major issues.
Yeah.
And it is utilized by a lot of our community members as well, so.
I think some of the signage improvements they made were actually complicating a few years ago, so certainly utilize and endorse this. So, any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 18.7, resolution 2026-23, commercial redevelopment grant application. Let's see.
I'll make a motion to
we go.
approve resolution 26-23.
All right, moved by Counselor Berquist, and this is, authorizing the application to the Department of Iron Range Resource and Rehabilitation for a grant for some local business improvements. I believe there's actually a benefiting business in mind, isn't there?
Yes, Rudy's.
Rudy's.
And this actually came out of, I was contacted by somebody from IRRR saying that they were working on assisting this business and they wanted a resolution. But when the grant funder contacts you and says, hey, do this so we can get all this money.
All right, is there
I'll support that.
moved by Counselor Hanson?
No.
No, moved by Counselor Berquist and supported by Counselor Hanson. All right. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 18.8 on the agenda are community center rules and regulation updates. Yeah, the only thing I wasn't sure is what are the updated portions here?
Yep, so, couple grammatical, tidying up issues, but most notable, paragraph change is regarding the audiovisual or AV section, cause that had not been addressed and clearly based on the, utilization we've had over the last few weeks, that definitely needs to be addressed. So, that is the most notable change.
And that was one I had a question on.
Yeah,
It's a $400 deposit for the building.
yeah.
Should that, if they choose to use or want to use the audiovisual equipment, should that, an
Increase?
additional deposit be put on the AV equipment, or, the
We did-
building with AV is this much?
We did change our application, so that is a question, the audiovisual, and then specifying what it's used for.
Mhm.
So we certainly could implement something like that. I think that would be up to council discretion.
Well, I'm just thinking of, you know, a dropped microphone.
Could be expensive.
What does a microphone cost?
And we locked the facilities too. I should let everyone know. That
That portion. of the
room,
building.
yeah, that room, so no one would ever be able to, hopefully, no one would ever be able to go in there and
Right.
intentionally vandalize that equipment. And then that panel, mind you, you can still damage things, but that panel for the operation, that manual one, is also, it's in like a locked box. Lockbox. I think that's literally what it's called.
So that would have to be reserved or specifically
Yes.
with the building.
Yep. So if council, would like to, and we certainly could implement that now with that new question on the application.
Personally, I think it would be wise because you're talking, what's the total investment in the AV equipment?
Well, it's only going up from here, but, it's a lot. I would have to pull that number, but it's a lot. So, and then, we'll be seeing another quote for additional, these are called, we found this out, these are called gooseneck mics. Very funny name, but they will be giving, just in case we ever wanna utilize that facility for meetings or, when we have our,
Public hearings.
yeah, truth and taxation meetings over there, things like that. So the audio visual system that we currently have in place apparently is not up to snuff to allow for as many mics as we would need for each council member. So we would of course have to get a new piece of equipment. So we'll be seeing that quote soon to entertain that. I haven't even seen it yet. That'll come to council hopefully, if not next meeting, the first meeting in June, so.
Based upon our collective experience, it seems the AV setup is an evolving
Well, and
challenge.
after the volunteer dinner, we did figure out how to make sure that it turns on.
Oh.
Also, we wanna point out, there's a bunch of short folks working on that, so.
But to the point Councilor Hanson's making, should we enact some kind of an additional deposit for those
Well,
events, or?
Let me ask, if we said it's this amount for the building, this amount for the AV equipment, or should we say it's this amount for the building, this amount for the building with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you could do, the building has already been established, you just say the AV, you have to reserve it or notice, and that'll be an additional damage deposit of X amount of dollars.
Okay, but if the damage to the AV equipment exceeds what the people pay.
Oh, I see what you're getting at, you wanna bootstrap them together to have a
Exactly,
larger amount.
because if it's $300 damage to the AV and we only charge $200 for the equipment, can we take that other
Then
out
it should
of?
just be damage deposit if you want, the building and the AV would be X amount.
And in the guidelines, it wasn't updated, but we do require certificate of insurances at, like, depending on the event or the situation. So we could certainly make it mandatory for when they're renting that audiovisual piece as well, if that makes you feel any better.
So it'd be better to have a lump sum. So,
So was it $400 for the building?
Yes.
So building an AV would be X amount of dollars.
Could we perhaps table this and get some recommendations from staff on a differentiated rate schedule for AV equipment?
Come back next week?
Yeah,
is that
okay,
the-
Yeah.
Being that it's just next week, I don't see why that would hurt, yes.
A motion
yeah, I move we table it and get some numbers.
moved by
on the
Councilor
AV.
Henson to table, support,
I'll support that.
supported by Councilor Berquist. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, and that's tabled for further discussion. 18.9 is dealing with approving planning and zoning commission membership. Let's see, Michael Joffs is apparently willing to serve on the planning zoning commission. Is there a motion to
I'll make that motion.
appoint him? Councilor Hess moves to appoint Michael Joffs to the planning commission. Is there a support?
Supported.
Supported by Councilor Hanson. All right, any further discussion?
You need two more.
Well, for the camera, Councilor Hess is just emphasizing we need two more people there too, and if all of the developments we're thinking about are, start materializing things, I think it's gonna become a very critical commission and certainly a great opportunity for people to serve and help shape the future going forward.
I just wanna bring up one brief concern about it, and that's having 2 household members on one commission. Does that bring up any questions or anything? I mean, it just seems like there could be a potential conflict of interest in having, especially on a board of 7.
Council, any input?
Sometimes you deal with what you get as volunteers, and to my understanding, there was 3 vacant, now there's only 2, and if more people would step up and participate, probably avoid this, but in light of what it is at this point, I don't see a problem. If the actual planning and zoning appears to be a problem, well, then that can be brought up at a later date. But I know Mr. Joss is a former state trooper and very level-headed individual.
And I've seen it before, several times.
Yeah.
Especially in smaller communities where it seems like the same people are the ones carrying the water for the communities.
But excellent point of concern to try to head off something. Thank you, Councilor Preston. All right, I believe we have a motion and support on the table. Is there further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The appointment is made, and we'll look forward to other volunteers coming on. So, 1810, charitable gathering request for Ms. Aurora. Turn to the city clerk. You usually have a great deal of involvement in that. Is this in line with what's been done before?
Yes, this is in line with, has been done before, I think the last 2 years, possibly 3. Time just keeps flying by. These are the amounts that we've provided to that program.
And these are coming from our charitable gambling funds, which are contributed by some of the operations that are credited in the letters by which we grant these things. So, is there a motion to make that grant to Ms. Aurora Pageant? Moved by Councilor Keen, support.
I'll support it.
Supported by Councilor Hanson. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And next one's a kind of related event. 18.11 is celebrate Aurora's request for various assistance, right, during the Celebrate Aurora event that's taking place on the 2nd and 3rd.
Yep.
In there, and some of the.
So, I'm actually gonna interject. I was absent last Celebrate Aurora meeting due to that training that we were at, in the metro area. So, I do apologize. A lot of that material is very old. The written document is not, or the 2 written documents are not old, but the map is. So, I would actually request to council to table this. We do have a meeting lined up for tomorrow morning with the parade folks in charge of that. So hopefully we'll come up with a good solution, because it was like we were playing, I was middleman communicating to Russ, Jordan, or Chief of Police Jordan, and the Celebrate Aurora. So hopefully getting everyone in one room will definitely allow us to come up with
Russ
that.
and them will be at that meeting
Russ
tomorrow.
will be at the meeting, yep, and so will Jordan, so.
I'm delighted to hear that, because
Yes.
in the last Celebrate Aurora, when I was there, there seemed to be a lot of questions and concerns.
Yes.
And it's very critical in this transitional time and with all the challenges of construction to coordinate efforts. So,
Yes.
is there a
I
motion to
move
table?
to table it until our next meeting.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilor Hanson, supported by Councilor Hess. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Matters tabled. Based on our prior discussions during the agenda setting, I think we'll first entertain agenda item 18.13, which is any other matters that should come before the council.
I just had a question that was raised on our, one of our prior deals. Are vacancies, and this is for the city clerk, are vacancies on different boards and commissions in the city listed on the website, city website?
You know, yeah, it's funny that you said that. I thought that would be brought up tonight. I don't know. I would have to
Okay.
check the new website. It was in the old one for news, but I don't recall seeing it on this website, but I will verify.
for the public's benefit too, you know, there are a lot of opportunities and ways to volunteer that don't necessarily involve getting on a commission or a board and being a year-long commitment, although we encourage that. And it takes a lot of boots on the ground to stage some of these events, and don't hesitate to get involved with those that are more consistently involved in the project. We welcome you, and it makes everybody's job easier and the community richer.
Plus
So-
you get a free meal once a year.
Yeah, that's right. All sorts of benefits.
Yeah.
Let's see, so,
I had another question under other, but it's not related to that. Just, do we have an update on what's going on with the community drive trees that have been down for months now and are not being cleaned up yet?
I'm sorry, what was?
So there are a bunch of trees that have been taken down by the community drive project, and they've been laying down for a month or so or more, and they're continuing to stay down. I was hoping that when we cleaned up all the trees in town, that would also be part of that, and they're still there.
Where's it at?
In the
Where-
ditch?
on the
On the
community
ditch and
drive
the
project,
line next to community drive.
the south side of the,
Just drive
County
west
took
down
the-
town.
Oh, that's a county, that'll be all taken down when they start.
Are you talking along the highway?
yeah.
Along the highway, and then they
That's-
also go back
That'll be
into
part
it
of the
a little
construction,
bit.
that's why it was taken down.
Yeah, that's,
Do we know when they're gonna finish cleaning those up?
it's in the county's court. I mean, I'm sure they're waiting for the contractor so they dropped them, they have it in their contract, the grubbing, which is the getting rid of the stumps and all
Yeah.
that. So I mean, unfortunately, it's probably when the project starts.
Okay.
Certainly relay the concern.
Okay, yeah, it's just been quite a while, obviously, so. And then one other question would be, do we know when we're doing the final pavement on the West Industrial Park?
I've not heard a definitive date, but we are supposed to do a walkthrough, I think, next Wednesday?
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday? So I would imagine the next week, potentially. Road postings go off on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I would anticipate probably next week. they're
It'd be
gonna
nice to
do
have
this.
it warm up a little.
Yeah,
first.
it has been a
Before
cold
they
spring.
And maybe now that we have a business that's operating out of there, we
Yeah.
need to make sure they're aware of when that's gonna be an issue, so they have any equipment they need before the paving
Yep.
removed.
Yep. So,
Thanks for those points. One other point I'm gonna just throw out there is I've talked to the city administrator, and we are through the first quarter of the year, and realizing the auditors are not finished, they won't be finished for months. I would very much hope that we could have a point, whether it's the next meeting or a meeting after that, where we get a chance to look at how things rolled out first quarter financially for our operations. I'm not all worried about the water project, the sewage project, but our operations. And then also, kind of maybe an accounting, but at least a summary of where did we end up at the end of last year in terms of what we had budgeted for operational areas of activity, and were we behind or ahead? I think we need that to be a platform from which to go into budgetary considerations during the summer months and our regular routine things. So I'm just gonna throw that out as a pending council matter that I think should be addressing, so.
Do we need a motion on that?
Mayor, I did plan to, at the next council meeting, at our 5 o'clock meeting, do the first quarter. I don't have the year-end stuff ready, but I did plan to do first quarter,
Okay.
so, but I'll work on the year-end too.
Well, realizing you're not filing your nails, it nevertheless is important, I think, for us as a council to do our jobs responsibly there. So, yeah, I don't know that it needs a motion or anything, does it? Just that I think we ought to continue to try to get that onto our future agenda. Other matters?
Well, Jeff said he wanted something.
Jeff,
What was it?
you had something else? Council, I guess, seems
You
to
wanted
recall.
to cover under other?
I don't think we're ready to set a date yet, just so you know, so you're on notice that we might need, we're probably gonna have to get the EDA together before the next regular scheduled meeting, so.
Okay. Well,
Isn't the next regular EDA meeting next Tuesday?
Yes. It is.
With the joint HRA at 4 o'clock.
This is a separate issue, but well, we'll discuss it, but just be on notice that it might come up.
Yeah, we'll call each of you for your availability, so, yeah.
Okay, any other matters before we move into agenda item 1812? All right, if not, that's the agenda item 1812 is a property matter requiring a closed meeting pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.05 subdivision 3. And when we come out of that, we will formally reconvene this meeting, right? And I don't know that there's anything, I think there should be a motion to move into the closed meeting for purposes of that discussion. Right.
I move we go into closed meeting.
All right, moved by Counselor Hanson and supported by Counselor Keen. Any further discussion on going into closed session? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have therefore moved in.